Well, good morning, everyone. Hope you had a fantastic Labor Day weekend here in southern Oklahoma. It was beautiful, beautiful weather. Unfortunately, on the lake, we had a drowning from a boat accident. Very, very tragic situation. My son happened to be there and witnessed the whole thing. It was just a really, really sad situation. A woman was killed in the accident. It's like I said, it's just very, very tragic. But it's great to be back with you today, sharing some more thoughts with you on one day is with the Lord, 1,000 years. 1,000 years is as a day. And my name is Don Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. I don't know of another text in all of the Bible, unless it's Matthew 24:36, that is appealed to more often in an attempt to negate the imminence time statements of the coming of the Lord and the end of the age in the New Testament. Peter, according to those who reject the imminence, is here saying God cannot tell time, or God doesn't communicate truthfully in time. Now, I want you to think about this for just a moment. As I shared in my first segment, God created the calendar for man. An additional thought: God gave man the language that correlates to that calendar. Genesis chapter 1 verse 14, he set the sun, the moon, the stars in the skies to be for signs and for seasons, for days, weeks, months, and years. So it is God who appointed not only the calendar, but the time words that relate to the calendar. Now, point number 3, and this is very critical. God communicated to man about events to happen in man's world, the world created by Yahweh, the world that he regulates according to the calendar that he gave to man. And God, when he communicated to man about events to take place in man's world, used the words that he gave to man that indicate imminence, or, on the reverse of that, indicated a long time. Are we really being asked to believe that God created the calendar, gave it to man, communicates to man in words that he intended to communicate imminence or protraction, but when he communicates to man in the words that he gave to man, and he uses words that normally communicate imminence or protraction, we're supposed to believe and understand that he didn't mean what he said by the words and the language that he gave us? Really? Let's turn this around just a little bit. One day is with the Lord 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as a day. What this supposedly means is that God does not communicate truthfully in regard to time. Now remember, God gave the calendar. He communicates in words associated with the calendar, the words that he gave us that normally indicate imminence. But again, we're not supposed to believe in imminence. Oh, by the way, but we are supposed to believe in protraction. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed how those who deny the imminence of the at hand, quickly, soon, shortly time statements, they say, oh, those can't mean imminent because God can't tell time. But then, should God ever, as he does in some instances, say something was not at hand, not near, we're supposed to take that literally. Well, wait a minute. One day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, 1,000 years as a day. So if at hand can mean 2,000 years, then not at hand can mean today. Do we really want to make language so self-contradictory so illogical? So confusing? No. The reality is that God can tell time perfectly well, and that God has communicated to man in time words, honestly and objectively. It is only when man has a preconceived idea about the nature of events that God was predicting, the time statements do not match that concept, and so what do men do? They start denying, they start mitigating, they start altering the language that God gave to man to communicate to man in regard to the calendar that he gave to man. Hey, thanks for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. Hope to see you on the flip side.